Why does this happen? It happens because oftentimes we come to events like this and the only people that are here is marketing. I started writing for River Pools and doing the Ask Your Answer myself in 2009. It was March. It was about November of that year, we had started to get momentum, and I thought, there's something really happening here. I can tell this is going to save my business forever. And I got this impression that I needed to tell the world what I was learning as a pool guy. It was a very clear impression. And as it was, I'd been staying up late and I'd been producing this content, obviously for my swimming pool company. But I went to my wife and I said, I feel like I am supposed to talk about this. Literally, this is what I'm supposed to do. And she said, okay, what does that mean? I said, I think it means that I go to bed even later. And she said, if that's what you feel like you've got to do. I said, I don't know how, but my sense is if I start writing about what we're doing with River Pools, it's going to change our lives forever. And that was November of 2009. I had the goal. The goal was by November 6, 2009, because that was my birthday, I was going to give myself a present. And the present was I was going to start a blog, and I ended up calling it the Sales Lion. And most of you have no idea, you didn't see the Sales Lion, but that was my first foray into talking about business. Now, some people say, why did you call it the Sales Lion? It's first of all, if you call it the Marketing Lion, nobody's gonna read it, right? So you gotta call it sales. And lions are pretty cool, and that's the whole story. Now that's it. That's really it. So I want to set the conditions for success these next couple of days. And this is something that, we tend to do. And if you work with us at Impact, we do this, but I just think it's so important because the mindset that we carry to this room is going to be fundamental to whether or not you walk out of here saying, I got exactly what I needed, versus if you say to yourself, I'm disappointed and I feel like I wasn't fed, I feel like I didn't receive what I needed to receive. So with that being said, what do we need to bring on an individual level? And this is a question for you, and so my runners be ready. What do we need to bring on an individual level to make sure that we personally get the most from these 3 days? What do you personally have to bring? So when you say attention, and what's your name, by the way? Andy. So when you say attention, in this context, what does that look like? Because it's a great answer.
You're present, you're focused on what's going on, you're not distracted by your phone or messages or the business that all of us have to run.
How many emails have you already gotten over the course of the first 4 hours of this day that you probably haven't answered yet, Andy?
Probably about 20.
Probably about 20. Yet you're in the game right now, and I can tell you're in the game right now. And that's the choice that you're making. The choice, it is a choice we're all gonna make throughout this entire time. And throughout your day even, you will be tempted to disengage, get distracted, as we all are. And the question is, can we lean in long enough to get the most from this, to be fully there? What's interesting about this is I literally need you to be effective. I need your energy. I need your help. Your table needs you. Everybody here knows if one person starts to flame out at your table, you sense it. And you're like, it's just hard to even describe, but everyone feels it at the table. We are dependent literally on each other for these 2.5 days to make sure that we improve each other's lives. And I say that on a personal and professional level. So please, as much as you can, be here. Like the saying goes, wherever you are, be there. Be here for these next couple of days. And if you're fully here, I know that you are going to experience change. Who else has got another one? Come on. All right, be open. Yes, be open. And what was the first name for everyone?
Oh, Cheryl Parker.
And I love Cheryl, and I love her company, love her team. And you guys have literally opened yourselves up completely as an organization over these last few years. I mean, you're the definition, if I may say this, of old dogs learning new tricks. Right? Because Kaplan's how old? 50 years old. And you just decided within these last couple of years that, hey, we're going to do the Ask You Answer. We're going to do all these things that we haven't done before. And Mark and sales over there is we're going to do these things that we haven't really done before, right, Mark? And it's once again, you've got people that have been on your team for how long? I mean, the average amount that people have been in y'all's team, sales and marketing, is
about 25 to 30 years.
About 25 to 30 years. It's crazy. And so if there's anybody here that's thinking, I don't know if we can change, talk to Kaplan, please. Because you can change, but you got to be open to it. I have to be open to it. A lot of people thought that when AI came, that I was going to be one of those people saying, don't use AI. And then folks were saying that I was going to try to protect the ask you answer and just hold fast to it. I'm like, listen, we have to evolve. We know the principles of obsessing over the questions, worries, fears, issues, concerns of our buyers. That's never going to go away. But the way that it manifests itself from a sales and marketing standpoint is going to evolve a lot, which is why we see people like Andrea saying, hey, listen, like all of a sudden, some industries have been a lot more affected than other industries, but they're all eventually going to be affected very, very much, which is why you've heard me say now consistently over the course of the last year and a half, hard, you cannot build your house on Google. We cannot just say that Google search is going to carry the day. We could do that 10, 15 years ago. We can do it no longer, which is why we have this event twice a year. We didn't need to have this event twice a year 10 years ago, 5 years ago even. But as soon as AI came down the pike, we had to change because we're seeing stuff happen over the course of weeks that used to take years when it comes to digital and technology. I've been in this game. I've been writing about it since, like I said, with the sales line, it was 2009, so it's 15 years almost. And I can tell you, I've never seen the rate of change like this. It's hard to keep up with. We're all intimidated right now. All of us are intimidated right now. So if you're feeling like, wow, it's pretty overwhelming, I feel it too. It's impossible for me to keep up. I used to feel like I can keep up and I can keep my audience ahead. What's one movie that you've watched 20 times? Anybody? My man said Die Hard. Dan knows he's watched it 20 times. Now, does anything different happen every time you watch it, Dan, or is it the same movie? What's changed? You've changed. That's exactly right. And so the thing that's so interesting, especially as we lean into principles of truth, is the principle hasn't necessarily changed, but what's happening is we are changing personally, our business is changing collectively, society is changing dramatically, and so because of that, we have these like new applications constantly that we can have a different lens and look at it and say, wow, I didn't even see it that way before. That's why a great book you can read over and over again, and I feel like we can do that here. So let's make sure that we don't come from this place of, I've got it. And so now we want to start at the beginning of what was They Ask You Answer. And as many of you know, They Ask You Answer is evolving, right? We have the 3rd edition that's coming out next year. And it's going from just They Ask You Answer to endless customers. And so as we look at endless customers and we refer to that, you understand why we're referring to it that way as it's growing. Our buyers are changing, and they're changing a lot. You sense it, and I sense it. And of course, one of the things that we've been talking about for a long time that I think is such a significant number is this 80% number. And we know that our average buyer today, and this is getting higher because I don't think they've done the study recently, is 80% through the buyer's journey before they reach out, before they talk to us. They are vetting us to death. They are learning everything they can learn before they reach out. And with AI, you can believe this number has gotten a good bit higher. You see, we don't want to make mistakes. The companies that are willing to feed us during this 80%, they make us happy. The companies that are not willing to feed us what we want, we no longer have patience for them. This means we've got to do whatever it takes to win the 80%. And we're going to, of course, be talking about that to a significant degree over these couple of days. Now, one thing I'm always curious about though is, and I know I do a lot of polls, but I just need your help because I want you to see where your peers stand. Raise your hand if your sales team, and I mean all of them, are definitively aware of this trend right here. Raise your hand if your sales team is absolutely definitively aware of this number. Now, this is the thing that continues to concern me the most, because chance, if your sales team isn't aware of the fact that they are vetting us to death before they reach out, before they call, before they fill out that form, before they do that thing, before they talk to sales, if the sales team doesn't really understand this, what is the problem with that, Chance? You say, we're not following the process. That's very true, and it goes beyond that too. Because if they don't know what's happening in here, it means that that salesperson might just say, I'm good. You guys in marketing, go ahead and do your thing. I'm going to go make the company money. And how does that work out, Chance? Not so well. Not at all. Raise your hand if, as a marketer, you've ever felt resistance from sales participating with you in any type of content production. Now look around. Why does this happen? It happens because oftentimes we come to events like this, and the only people that are here is marketing. This is what makes a company like Mozilla unique is because Mozilla has Tom Horton here, and Tom is their VP of sales, and you have been to, what, 4 of these now? 5 of these, Tom. This is not a small company. They're close to now $1 billion organization, and Tom is still here because it's so important to him that the sales organization understands their role in this 80%. If your sales team is not obsessed with this, we have a problem. You will be met with resistance. You will find that they're rolling their eyes sometimes, saying, why do we need to learn that? Why do we need to do that? Why would I be on this video? We've got to do whatever it takes to overcome that resistance.